I'm well. Thank you, Mr. President. We've been talking a little bit as a country about being neighbors recently. I would humbly submit the Super Bowl ends up being a little bit of a cultural forum in which we can discuss the issues of the day. And there was a really pleasant, nice ad about being neighbors. And everybody has a cell phone. Everybody gets information on demand, usually the information you want to hear. And sometimes that information says you're great and the people who are not like you are not as great as you are. And then that information polarizes us and divides us. I'm not telling you anything you don't already know. But we live in a time where neighborliness is a little bit under threat, a lot under threat. And there's a distrust of government that has been sowed, that we have been experiencing for decades now, this idea of making government smaller because government's not doing what we want it to do, et cetera, and wouldn't it be great if government just got out of our way? That sounds like a good idea to anybody who is not aware of what government does for us. And maybe it takes something like health care falling out from underneath us, the enhanced subsidies in DC that were not extended, or maybe it takes deployments of armed federal troops for us to start realizing that our neighborliness is under threat and that our government is not reflecting a commitment for us to live as neighbors. This may sound like a dramatic frame for an income tax conversation, but it is not. The income tax is half the budget. And if you eliminate half the budget, you got to replace it somehow unless your intention is actually to destroy government. What people need to know who are watching the tax conversation is affordability is a buzzword, rising costs is buzzwords. There are politicians who would like to respond to the moment that we're in by just using more buzzwords as solutions, like tax cuts. Wouldn't it be great if we could just cut taxes and solve the affordability problem? The problem is, we know who's paying the taxes. It's not the low end of the income spectrum that would maybe see a $20 or $200 rebate if the income tax were fully repealed. The people who are really benefiting from this are the very high income earners, above hundreds of thousands of dollars per year, who would see an income tax rebate of $20,000 on average each per year if the income tax were fully repealed. Who's ever flown on a plane? It's still green. Who's flown on a plane before? Anybody in here flown on a plane? Anybody ever had somebody in front of you on a plane lean back the seat and then your knees get hit, or you can't eat, or you can't use a laptop? And you get really mad because the person in front of you is leaning back their seat? Most people in that situation get mad at the person in front of them. But who should they be mad at? They should be mad at the airline for not allowing extra space in the seat, for building the plane in such a way that we're all crammed in there like sardines. The airline would love for people who are sitting back to back to get mad at each other instead of getting mad at the level of service that's being provided. And the same thing is true when it comes to neighborliness and our government and the way we use taxes. Senate Republicans would love for you to get mad at your neighbor who is not working hard enough or paying enough taxes, so that when they cast distrust on government, you don't blink because you think to yourself, it's my neighbor's fault or it's the government's fault. The reality is that income tax repeal is just a sales tax hike, and it is a scam designed to make you distrust your neighbor and distrust your government. Because it doesn't become obvious until your health care subsidies fall completely away, or your housing is completely unaffordable and the government's doing nothing about it. It doesn't become obvious until those moments how important government actually is. So the warning to voters paying attention to this income tax debate is, in 2026, Republicans are going to tell you that repealing income tax is a way for you to save $200. or 20 bucks. But what's really happening is they'd like to defund the entire government, and they'd like to give their rich buddies $20,000 back and act like they're doing you a favor. Thank you for your rapt attention. Thank you so much for participating in my speech act. It's lovely to see all you senators and everybody in the gallery today. Thanks, Mr. President.
Recognize